Hello and welcome back to part 4, video 4 of the 8-part video series I'm calling 2022 Let's Preptober Together. Hi, I'm Kimberly Grymes, a science fiction and fantasy writer, author of Isildes, and also the companion novella The Red Ember Forest, and several published short stories. I'll leave the details for each in the description below because I really want to jump into this video. Quick recap of what this series is all about. I'm using my Preptober checklist from my Etsy shop to plan out my NaNoWriMo project, my writing project. This is an 8-part video series, so if you haven't watched the first 3 videos, I recommend checking those out first because we're kind of going in order. Okay, we're in the last 2 checkboxes for week 2, character list and mood boards. This is kind of fun, so let's jump right into that. Okay, jumping into expanding on the character list. So we want to dive deeper into who the characters are and what role they play in your story. But now is the time you want to get an idea of who you envision your characters to be and who you want in the story. So I am in Google Jamboard right now, and I am just going to go through a really quick list of the characters. It's a short story that I'm writing. So as a novel, you might have a more elaborate cast of characters. So now is the time to really dive into who you see connected to your main character, side characters, antagonists, anti-heroes, anti-villains, who do you envision and what roles do they play and how do they connect to your main character? Okay, so for my short story, my character list starts with Marissa. Marissa is my main character, and she is the girl between 16, 17 years old, somewhere like that. She had lived in Village A. She was really happy with her parents. Something happened between her and her friends had done something that caused a very, very serious and traumatic and unfortunate event that caused Marissa to lose her parents. And so now Marissa lives out in Village B with her grandparents. Okay, and for the important side character that comes into this story, his name is Wallace, and he is that character who comes into the story. He has a goal, he has an agenda, he befriends Marissa, and he ultimately wants her to get back to Village A for reasons I cannot share with you, but it's all in the outline and everything. So he is important because he is going to be that character who is kind of influencing Marissa throughout this short story. Okay, next I did list the grandparent, only one. I haven't decided grandmother or grandfather, but they play a role since Marissa does live with them. Next, I decided that there is a neighborhood farm, that there is a farm nearby, another small farm since Village B is much smaller than Village A. And so there's a brief interaction between Marissa and this teenage boy who lives with his parents on this farm. So he comes into this story a few times. And so I thought it relevant to list him here. I just haven't given him a name yet. And then the Village B villagers. This is kind of for that climax scene when the villagers come after Marissa. It's no one in specific names. We don't need to get into who the baker is and who the smithy is and all that stuff. So it's just the Village B villagers. And then some characters that aren't directly in the story, but they are mentioned. And I've always felt that if a character is relevant to a story, but they're not there that they should still be mentioned or brought up or somehow implanted into the reader's mind that they're relevant. So that way, when they do come into the story, the reader isn't like, who the heck is this person? Where did they come from? So if there is that person who will later come into your story, or like for this circumstance, this instance, I needed to mention Marissa's friends from Village A because that is part of the bigger story in the novel. And they do play a role in the shorter story, in Marissa's story, because it's basically the reason why she had to move from Village A to Village B was because something that happened with her friends, something happened that they did all together, Marissa and her friends, that caused, like I said, her parents' death, and for her to have to be relocated however far away Village B is. I imagine it's far. Okay, so those are characters mentioned. So now this is a really good start to my character list. It's a lot more detailed than just the quick last week we were like, who's in this story? Let's just say we accomplished the character list, check, 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 and move on to mood boards. Okay, now let's create some mood boards for these characters. Okay, I've opened up a blank Google Jamboard, and I'm going to use this to kind of brainstorm my mood board. Okay, the main character in my short story, Marissa, I am going to be using Beatrix from the Winx Saga as the role model for my character, Marissa. So, here is Beatrix from the Winx Saga, played by Sadie Soverall. Okay, so this is for my personal use, for commercial purposes, I cannot use her in my mood boards. But I could have her as a visual for me when I'm writing the story to help remember certain traits that this actress portrays as Beatrix from this Winx Saga show. Some of the things I picked up while watching Sadie play Beatrix on the Winx Saga show is, she's all about survival. She's all about looking out for herself. And Marissa, the main character in my short story, is also in that survival, looking out for herself mode, especially after, the big incident happened in Village A, and now she's in Village B. She has attitude because of, everything. Her life has changed. So she now has this really big attitude. She's not afraid of taking chances just because she just feels like there's nothing really enjoyable about life right now. She's got that stone glare, staring daggers. Okay, so now that I have my Marissa, let's look at our Wallace. Okay, I'm going to stick with the Winx Saga just because it's kind of fresh in my mind because I really enjoy this show. So in the Winx Saga show, this is Riven, the character. His name is Riven. He's played by Freddie Thorpe, who does an amazing job. I love his character so much. And I might not exactly use a lot of his, behaviors, maybe some, because his character doesn't really, his character in the Winx show doesn't really match what I'm going for Wallace in my short story. So with Wallace, I want to make sure, I can envision somebody who can put on a good smile, is playing the friend role to accomplish his goal, and he's, attractive, which he uses to his advantage. So these are things, qualities, behaviors that I plan to have Wallace portray in the short story. Okay, so I had created this in Google Jamboard, and now I'm going to jump over to Canva, and I'm just going to create some mood board images for this story, these characters. I'm just going to browse through the photos. Well, they didn't have sunroofs back in the day. Magic. Up here you get a few ways to narrow it down. Let's see, when you type in witch, it's going to be more of a, you know, the typical witch. Let's see what else we get. Mystical, that's a little more we're looking for. So with Canva, all of the images are okay to use in your marketing. That one's nice, but Marissa is a little bit darker. So I want to find something that's not darker, but oh, I really like that. Let's just put that up here. I really like this too. Okay. I did add a gravestone because she did lose her parents from an incident in Village A. So there's some sorrow and loss there. And ta-da! I thought that kind of nailed it with the old historical farm look. And then there's kind of like the farming hands, and they have maybe goats. It's kind of hard to decide which animals, but I think goats would work. So it's kind of, you know, the start to the scene. And then we have my characters, my role models who will help me, you know, with the behaviors and personality and, you know, special qualities when you're developing your characters. For my two main characters, Marissa being the main character, Wallace being the strong supporting character in the story. So the whole idea, and there's lots of ways you can create mood boards through Canva, back on Pinterest, you can save images. Just be careful with Pinterest when you share, because a lot of the images might have some copyright issues. So the nice thing about Canva is you can create all of this, and then you can share it to your Instagram or your Twitter, your Facebook, any kind of, you know, blog. And that stuff you can share, as well as help you stay motivated to write your story. And there's lots of different mood boards. You know, there's the character mood board, there's the story mood board, there's the theme mood board, anything that represents your story. And so this can really suck you in hours. I'm talking hours. And it's something you can also do continuously over the month, and even when you start writing, you know, if you've got some downtime or free time, you know, feel free to just browse if you need more images for your character mood board. The point of this today is just getting the start, establishing, you know, where it is. So now I'll continue looking for images, and I'll just have them here, and I'll just add a page, and I'll just keep posting them in. And then when it's time to market, you've got all these great images here to use. So I think this is a great start to my story mood board. Referencing your mood boards either before you start writing your writing session or in between does really help motivate. It helps motivate me to keep moving forward. So I'm hoping it helps motivate you too. But you want to keep that inspiration, keep that motivation, keep that, you know, who these characters are and who this story is. And hopefully the mood boards will help you. Okay, thank you for watching the 2022 Let's Preptober Together series. This was episode 4. Just a reminder, there's a 20% off sale currently running on my Etsy shop for all my digital download listings for the entire month of October 2022. So if you want to grab your Preptober copy and follow along, now is the time to do it while it's on sale, and check out all the other digital download writers, resources, and worksheets. Be sure to check out my books and short stories either on Goodreads, Amazon, or my author website, where you can read the excerpts for each of my published stories. And don't forget to show some love for this video. Ring that bell if you want to stay in the loop for future videos. Keep reading, keep writing, and keep moving forward. Say hi. You want to say hi? Yes. Jubilee, come here, Cori. Come on. Cori wants to say hi too.